Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our daily issue analysis (DIA). And today, again, we have come up with very important topic from current affairs, which is not only important for our exam, but it is also very important from Indian polity point of view, Indian economy, and it is very important news. Let's see what is it. So the topic for the day is goods and services tax (GST). Yes, it is in news and we should not ignore. We will discuss why it is in news and why we should not ignore, because in the past also UPSC has asked two times about GST. So GST is one of the favorite area and it has been already asked two times and we can expect this time as well, because the concern in or the background in the context in which we are going to discuss about it. Okay, so this year it is important. Why? Let's understand. So why it is in news? It was in news because 5 years after the shift of GST tax, now this year, as we are talking, 28 and 29 June, 47th meeting of GST Council is happening, and it that is yesterday and today. It is going on in Chandigarh, and it is about many things about the autonomy and other concerns which states want to discuss. So that's why this meeting is going on. So meeting is going on amidst the growing tension between the center and states over the country's fiscal architecture. And also, since the compensation scheme is coming to an end, the compensation period which was offered by center to state is coming to an end. So, what was this compensation period, compensation scheme? It is come that time when GST was introduced. That time center was able to win the confidence of states that okay, why we should go for GST by offering them compensation from any loss of revenue to states, because that time it was anticipated that since GST is being introduced, it will lead to revenue loss to states. So that time center told, don't worry, we are there and we will take care of it, and whatever loss of revenue will happen, we will take care of it. So 14% is the weighted average revenue rate. So they told any shortfall below 14%, the center will compensate. And it was fixed for a period of 5 years. Now that period is going to end on June 30th. So now states have found that there is definitely lack of support and shortfall is there in revenue. So what is next after this compensation period? What is next waiting for us? So that is another objective of the meeting. Also, in Union of India versus Mohit Minerals Private Limited, this is a case which happened just 2 months back, 2 months before. Supreme Court judgment came, which emphasized that decision of GST Council are not binding on the states. So it is very important. Just the decisions of the GST councils are not binding on the states, and which emphasize that they can have their own fiscal policies or stands and they can decide not necessarily according to what GST Council is saying, but according to their needs and their own understanding. So this is why it is in news. 47th meeting of the GST Council is going on, and we have discussed that period is coming to end. There is a case, and the overall fiscal structure is very disturbed, and the states have their own concern. Now we'll see the important aspects related to it. Now let's have a quick look at the background of GST. So GST was introduced in 2016, that is after the Constitutional Amendment Act number 101, and this was since in debate, and it was discussions were going on since 1990s. It was in deliberation. Finally, it was approved in 2016, and this was when this came, 11 different domestic indirect taxes which were levied by center, states and union territories were subsumed, they were combined. Okay, so 11 indirect taxes at different level of center, state and UTs were consolidated into GST. Okay, and it was a consensus based decision. So building a consensus to implement GST was done, and then finally all these states together they came, and the overall objective was one nation, one tax, one market principle. So it was guided by this philosophy, this idea. So this is a brief background, that it was since deliberation since 1990s, then it came finally through 101 Amendment Act, and 11 taxes were subsumed, and consensus based decision, one nation, one tax, and one market. That was the objective. Now let's quickly have a look at the issues. So before we discuss the issues, let's have a look at the advantages of GST. So the advantages of GST we will understand from government's point of view and then from economy point of view. So starting with the government's point of view, GST has led to common market. A unified common market has been created. It has given boost to domestic and foreign investment also, like Make in India, because now entire nation is one under one tax bracket. Okay, so there is no multiplicity, there is no confusion based on the location, based on different states, different rates, different tax rates are not there. So it has led to unified common market now, and because of which the foreign investments now they are choosing the location of their choice, or all the states are equally good for them now, for investment purpose. Earlier the investment was restricted in few states only. Other benefit is of streamlining the taxation. Earlier there were multiple taxes which were varying from one state to other, so now it has been subsumed, and thus the whole process has become streamlined. It is more smoother. The third point is with respect to improved compliance. Because earlier the problem was that different tax were there, different rates were there under different states, and there was no common tax. So based on the location, based on the origin, let's say in Tamil Nadu, in Uttar Pradesh, based on Maharashtra, wherever, whatever tax rates were there in that particular state, so the firms has to comply with the respective norms or the rates of that particular states. Earlier, compliance was becoming difficult because every state has their own provision, their own tax regime. Now the compliance burden has reduced. Compliance burden of the firms has reduced. So overall compliance has increased. There is no tax evasion nowadays. Okay, because and it is easier also. We'll see that it has formalization has happened, so it is easier because now the filing has to be done online. Everything is online. Next point is that it discourages evasion. As we discussed that everything is compliance friendly. Now everything is online. So overall improved compliance is also improved, and evasion it discourages evasion because the complexity, multiplicity, everything has reduced. Let's understand it from the economy point of view. From the economy point of view, it reduces corruption. Yes, because now you have to file the returns online. Refund also you are getting online. Okay, and then input tax credit, e-way bills, because of which everything has the scope of discretion or the scope of corruption has been reduced. It has led to the formalization of economy. More firms are registering themselves under the GST regime as it has simplified the procedure. The procedure and the compliance, everything is online. So even small firms are registering them to get the benefits of input tax credits and in order to avoid any kind of harassment. So it is leading to formalization. Not only that, because of this, ease of doing business has improved because different tax laws, different rates, now that culture is not there. One tax, one rate is there, and one country. Also, it has led to competitive market of the goods and services. Earlier, the problem was not this because of the different prices, the commodities were not having competitive pricing. Earlier, multiple rates led to cascading effect. Cascading effect, so goods became costly for the consumer. So higher prices make our products less competitive, not only in the domestic market but also in the international market. So this cascading effect, that is tax on tax, has been reduced because of GST, and thus prices have come down. Thus, it is leading to competitive pricing, competitive market. And not only that, also the consumers, since the price has reduced and there is no cascading effect, so reduced price is there, for a consumer has to pay less. So a happy consumer, if a consumer is happy because they are paying less, so they are able to save also. So these are the advantages for economy, and we have seen from government's point of view and economy point of view. Now we'll see issues related to GST. Now we will start discussing about certain issues in the GST implementation over a period of time, what we have observed. So starting with that, it has led to trust deficit. So states initially, when center was implementing, and center gave this confidence that whatever revenue loss will happen because of the implementation of GST, states were told that center is taking responsibility, that the compensation will be paid. So states, they trusted center that okay, center will take care, because of GST, lot of state taxes were subsumed. So tax kitty of the state was slashed. Thus, the fiscal autonomy was affected as lot of taxes were subsumed. So they trusted center, but now what is happening? Now center is telling that since they are not in paying capacity, so they are telling that we cannot pay the remaining compensation. And in the past also, center has not been paying properly the compensation dues. So they're going back on promises. So the guarantee which they took it and they're not able to fulfill now, it is leading to trust issues, trust deficit. Because after GST, states have lost their autonomy. And thus, in this era of fiscal federalism, in fact, it is the era of cooperative federalism, because we say that because of GST, we have entered in this era of cooperative federalism. So things are not going proper, and thus it is leading to trust deficit. The second issue in the implementation is of economic crisis at present, whatever we are facing. So we know that it is difficult time, and because of COVID, 2 years of COVID, we all were affected. The whole economy was affected, and till date, the consumption is still very low. Crude prices are high. Inflation is there in double digits. All the macroeconomic variables, they are not performing good. They are not stable. We have already discussed in our video of inflation. What are the causes, challenges, issues, reasons, international reasons? Everything we have discussed. So if you have not gone through that video, please refer that video. It's very important. Okay. So because of these economic crisis, center had to is spending a lot of money to manage these crises. Thus center itself is finding difficult to manage the revenue sources. So the overall discipline of the promise is the center is not able to manage it. Thus, it is leading to fiscal shortfall. This has created an issue in the implementation of GST also, because center had promised that they will give compensation, but now they are not able to do so, running short of finances. So, thus the overall functioning of GST is being questioned. The third issue is of the difficulties for the states. So center now has told the states that now they would not be able to pay the remaining compensation. So now you should manage the finances on your own. But the problem is, it is a problem situation. It is a difficult situation for states, because as we all know that when we compare center and state, then center enjoys a better position with respect to managing finances, as some of the avenues are not even available for the states to manage the finances, be it managing the finances by issuing the sovereign bond, or center taking loan from the regulator RBI by taking the help of the shares of the public sector enterprises. But all these avenues are not available for the states, to the states. So their base for finances or revenue itself is becoming short. In fact, we also know that center has better bargaining power. They can take money, they can generate revenue at lower rate from the market. But for states, the same scenario will be not there. For states, it will be costly affair. The rates will be higher. So these are the issues. Because of this, it is creating a problem, difficulty for the states. We'll see other issues. Next issue is of losing out on revenue. So it was anticipated that when GST will be introduced, it will lead to more formalization of the economy. Thus, the tax base will increase. Thus, it will further reduce the tax evasion. So it was expected that over a period of time, the tax collection will also improve. Now, that has not happened. But in the last 5 years, we have seen that GST tax collection has in fact reduced. As per the study by the Reserve Bank of India, the weighted average, as you can see on the screen, the weighted average GST tax rate has declined from 14.4% to 11.6%, 14.5% since inception, time of inception, that is 2016, to 11.6% in 2019. So maybe it is possible that we are not taxing the items properly. Several items are there and we are not taxing them properly. So we are losing out on the revenue. Okay. Next issue is related to confusion in the rate slabs. And thus it is leading to inverted duty structure. We will try to understand that what is the meaning of that. So when GST was implemented, and even now for that matter, it was touted as one tax, one nation. We are saying that it will lead to one tax, one nation at present also. But within this also, there are multiple slabs. Thus, it is leading to confusion. As we all know that there are tax slabs of 0%, 5%, 12%, 18%, 28%. Not only that, demerit goods or the seen goods have assessed over 28%. So it is leading to confusion. For example, let's say there is a bread item, bread. So bread per se will have a different rate. But if we put raisins, kishmish, or dry fruits in that particular bread, so now the tax rate, the slab will change. Okay, because we have engaged. We now as a raw material we have dry fruits in that. So even common man is struggling. They are also confused. Just imagine about the small business houses. They are puzzled, and in fact, in their case, they cannot even go to fight the cases also. But there are business houses who are litigating. So litigation has also increased because of this. And this is overall leading to inverted duty structure, which means that tax on the input is more than the finished products. In actual, what should happen? Actually, the raw material should have less prices and the finished goods should have more prices. But in this case, as we have understood with the help of example, it is leading to multiple tax inputs. It is leading to inverted duty structure, right? So, and that is happening because of multiple taxes. So inputs have higher tax rates compared to the finished products. So this is leading to a lot of confusion. Next issue is the issue of compensation. So before that, let me tell you, the government is trying to rationalize the tax rates. So as we discussed it, that it is leading to confusion in tax rates because of there are multiple slabs are there. So a group of ministers headed by Karnataka's Chief Minister Baswaraj Bommai has been created to produce an interim report on how can we rationalize the issue of multiple slabs. And in future, it is recommended that keeping in mind the international practice, India should also strive for single rate in the medium term to facilitate administrative simplicity and compliance. The compliance will be better. So it is also recommended. Now coming to the issue of compensation. So compensation cess. The issue of compensation cess is that sender was finding difficult to manage the revenue. So what they did, they started taking cess, and there was a pool created. That money, whatever money was created, collected from the cess, was going to a pool, compensation pool, and whatever money was being collected there, government is using that money to compensate the state as per the promise. But there is a problem, as we all know, that cess is not considered as the under the divisible pool of taxes. However, tax is different. Tax, whatever tax is collected, it is divided between both center and state, but not cess. Cess is entirely for center. So states are finding this very difficult, and states have even found that cess is above taxes, and this cess is being appropriated by center. They are only managing everything. So this is one problem. Not only that, with respect to compensation cess, there is another problem. However, this we know that center was collecting, but because of this pandemic situation, center diverted lot of money from this cesspool, and it was supposed to the money was which was collected. It was supposed that it was believed that it will be given to the states in order to manage the loss of revenue as per the promise. But because of pandemic, center diverted a lot of money from here as well. So that is another problem of issue of compensation cess. We'll see few more issues. Other issues which are there with respect to GST implementation are issues related to technology platform. So we all know that we have a GSTN platform, GSTN network platform. So this technology platform, since long time until date, it is not stable. Okay, due to which initially planned returns could not be filed, so it led to problem, it led to delay, and this has also led to large scale misuse of input tax credit using fake invoices. Today also the issue is there, but yes, since it was implemented in 2016 2017, the technology platform was established and we have come a long way. So issues are being resolved slowly, gradually, but issues are there. Okay, next is huge exemption list. So yes, so we have a consumer price index. Almost 50% of the consumption items included in this consumer price index are in the exemption list. Means they are not being covered under GST under the purview of GST. That is the reason that we have loss of revenue, as we discussed, that how it has come down from 14.4% to 11.6%. We have discussed in the on the previous slide. Okay, so what we need to do in the long run? In the long run, we have to definitely broaden the base in order to base of the tax. So we need to prune these items and we need to remove from exemption list and we need to bring them under the purview of GST. Then only we can increase the tax base, right? Next is outside GST fold. Still, there are certain items which are outside the GST fold itself. That is petroleum products, alcohol. So these are used for human consumption, electricity. We have not brought them still under the GST fold. Then how we will be able to implement the principle of one tax, one nation principle? That won't be possible. So sooner or later, it is necessary to bring these items also under the purview of GST. Okay, so these are the other issues. There are further two more issues. The next two issues are, the 10th issue is increase in GST revenues in the recent months. So it has been believed and it has been observed from data that GST revenue collection has increased, and we all are happy that okay, the revenue collection is above 1 lakh crore from many months. But economists have warned. They believe that we should not go and analyze the GST performance based on the GST collection by the amount, because the reason in the increased collection of GST is not because of consumption has increased. Even in fact, post COVID, if we are thinking that consumption has increased, so that is not the case. So if we see the consumption trend, we will analyze, we will find that consumption has increased only 2% after the pre-COVID level. So GST collection in April 2022, which was around 1.68 lakh crore, is not because of because of consumption. Rather, it is because of the rise in the of commodities. Global prices has increased, inflation has increased, not that consumption has increased. So if we have to analyze the GST performance, the analysis has to be done properly. In fact, in order to make it more sustainable, so that we keep continuing we the collection more above 1 lakh crore, we need to focus on increasing the consumption than other aspects. So we need to increase the consumption uh, in the according to the pre-COVID levels. So that is required. Okay. Next is with respect to the lack of autonomy, fiscal autonomy to the third tier. What is the issue? So we know that post GST or the GST reforms which were brought, we are only talking about CGST, SGST, IGST. We are talking about center and state only. Our idea, the compensation is with respect to the state only, but nobody is talking about the states. Sorry, the panchayat, urban local bodies, ULBs. After 73rd and 74th Amendment Act, lot of roles and responsibilities has been given to the PRIs and ULBs. Okay, but here in GST we are not talking about them. So in future, it is being believed that yes, we are moving towards rationalization, and the rate will be average rate will be 12% GST. So recommendations have come up from the scholars that 10% should be equally shared between state and share, and 2% must be reserved and should be given to urban and rural local bodies, which will ensure them basic revenue and the fiscal autonomy for them so that they can spend as per their requirements. However, the actual distribution across panchayat, district, and cities should be given or should be taken care by the respective state finance commission. So these are the issues in GST implementation which we should know from exam point of view. Now let's have a look at the way forward. Okay, coming to conclusion, way forward whenever we are writing, so we always discuss that we should sound optimistic, we should sound futuristic, and that is how we should end. So till now, whatever issues we have discussed, it must be sounding all pessimism is there. So no, let's not be too pessimistic. Things are improving. We have also discussed that how in April 2022 itself the revenue collection was 1.68 lakh crores rupees, and in last 1 year every month the revenue collection was above 1 lakh crore. So that was the target government was targeting, and they have achieved so. So it is not that nothing good is happening. So we have to be optimistic and we have to see the silver lines and that how things are improving. Also, you have to suggest that what government should do. Union government, at least since they are committed to take care of states and they have promised something, so they should be disciplined. They should honor revenue guarantee commitment. Then only things will change. So they should take that resolve that the revenue guarantee commitment to states should be honored. Okay, and we can also learn from the example, Australia's example. So Australia, when they introduced GST, they were also having lot of multiple slabs, lot of slabs, but over a period of time they also rationalized, and now they have also rationalized, and they are having two slabs. So one slab is of 12% for all the goods, and the other slab is related to the sin goods. Okay, so over a period of time they have also rationalized, so we can learn from the international examples. Okay, so whenever you are set, you have to see what kind of question has been asked. Okay, so accordingly you present the issues, you discuss the ongoing current affairs, and accordingly you present your case. So hope you enjoyed the discussion, you got clarity with respect to this topic, and take care. Bye bye, we'll meet in the next video.